Okay, get back on this carburetor. I was missing the choke mechanism here, lever, so couldn't find it, and then I remembered last night where it was at. It's right over here in this box of crap. Here's the air cleaner and all this other crap I didn't want to use. That's why I couldn't find it. So there's the lever we're going to use. This is all military 45 choke lever that's been modified to work on this application here with a little small mini air cleaner here. Instead of having a long lever that sticks way out like they did on civilian bikes, they did this one by working it backwards. So I need here a couple of pieces here. There's one of them. And there's the spring I couldn't find also. So we use that instead of that new one right there. And the rest of this stuff over here, now it's going to go in the box. And good to go. Alright, so we don't need that box anymore. Okay, so let me go ahead and get this put up on the tripod and we'll get back to getting this together. Okay, should be able to see it there now. Alright, here's our choke shaft here right now. We'll pull back the lever here to get it in and out. So the way this works is the choke shaft has a little hole here in the end of it. Then we have a threaded screw right here. Goes through the hole right here, and that's what locks in our choke shaft here. So here we can see it here. Where's the camera at? There we go. It might even be in focus now. If I can figure out where the other camera is. There it is. So basically you just slide this thing over the end of the shaft here, and the screw goes in here and locks it, and the lever itself is threaded here to screw it in. Now you get a ball indent spring that goes right in here, a ball and an indent spring. And you see how these things get worn a little bit on this edge here? So this one's pretty well worn away. It's just about non-active anymore, but for now that's what we're going to put in here for this one. So the trick is you got to compress the ball before this goes in. So that's why we had to have the lever here before I put the choke shaft in it. Because you don't have room to put the ball and spring in here with a shaft in here. It's very, very hard to do. Okay, so here's our little spring. Let me get this a little bit closer. So that goes in your hole right here. Then we take the little ball and you lay it right on top of the spring there. Get the shaft ready to go through the hole. And I take the lever and I push it I put it against one side or the other, the hard stop side, one or the other, doesn't matter which. That helps support the ball. Then you just compress it, then you shove the shaft through it. Then you lift up the lever over here and shove it all the way through. And see that? Now you got the spring on there. So you can hear it working the indent. So now if you try to do it the other way where the shaft is sticking through, you can't really compress the ball very easily. It's really, really hard to do. You gotta use like a little screwdriver in there or a little piece of metal, and it's just really hard to do it that way. It's a lot easier to do it this way. Okay, then you rotate this thing up. There. So that gets the shaft to go straight up and down. Then you just take your throttle disc and just stuff it in the hole. Push it down evenly. Easier said than done. There it goes. And you bring the choke back. And center it up a little bit. Also put the choke all where it belongs, and go ahead and put the screw to hold the lever on it. Screw is pretty bad. Got a lot of mung in it too. Scrape that crap out so you get the screwdriver in there. Okay, just lightly bring that down. Okay, now you go ahead and put the Loctite on the screw. So we're using this small screw, purple Loctite. I don't know if that was right set up or upside down. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Who knows? So you put a little bit of this on the screws just to make sure they don't come out. At least we hope they don't come out. And this is the other one. Something goes relatively easy for once. That's a miracle around here. Okay, just go ahead and tighten these down. I usually like to bring them in a little bit on each one. And you tighten it. And you come over here and tighten the lever too. Okay, make sure it works. So there's how it works, like that. And also the lever over here is working as you do it. See, choke's on. It makes the fuel mixture richer because it lifts the needle up. See, normally it's here. So this pulls the needle up out, which makes it run rich. So it's an enrichment device and a choking device, both with one. That's why it works really good with only one notch on there. See, one notch makes it quite a bit richer. Each notch you go makes it richer, but each notch makes it close more too, so it does everything. Now if it's really, really cold, that'll actually run on that little hole, you know, like it's down in the 40s. But usually it's, you know, you run 3/4 to half a choke when you start, and you'll fly wide open after that. Okay, now we got this all together. Now we go ahead and adjust this screw again. We screw it back down until it bottoms out, stops. You don't have to force it, just till it just gets where hard stop is. I usually just look at where the screwdriver slot is and just go, you got half a turn, 1 turn, 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 3, 3 3/4 to 4. So it usually winds up being around 3 1/2, 3 3/4. So we'll just make it 4 for initial running. That should be rich. So we'll go ahead and run it there. So now the only thing left now is I got to get the main needle, which I got back dry from paint. So let me go get that. I painted that last night, so it should be dry. Okay, here's my needles. Now this here is one out of an M74B, which has the fine tip adjustment on it. This one here requires you to use the jet here because it's a relatively fine adjustment. This one here has the big fat needle in it with a very low taper to it, so it looks a little different. The thing to focus in would be nice. Let me pull this back a little bit here. It's focusing on the carburetor, not my fingers. So anyway, here's the 2 needles. There, now you can see it. So you can see how this is a pretty coarse adjustment here. So this one goes with the big fat hole. So when you open this up, it opens up pretty quickly. This one here, when you open up, it takes more turns to do anything because it's a real fine increment. So the correct one on this one is this one. Except the one with the little 90-degree hook on it is your later one. So this one here is the tall style with a double small. They also make the one with the big top, small here. And then they make the short version that has big and small. So they got 4 different things here. And these all have the fatter tip on them. So anyway, that one here just drops in the hole. Should go in there relatively easily. There it goes. See, see how it's jamming? It wasn't in the right hole there. Didn't go in. So just kind of wiggle around until it gets to the spot where it goes right in. Don't force it. And then it should just go right on down, which it seems to be doing nicely. So we go all the way down, and we just unscrew it about a turn and a half. Half, 1, 1 1/2. That should be enough to start. And then once it's running, then we can go from there. So that's pretty straightforward. So this one here is pretty well done for now. It doesn't have the fuel strainer on here. These are fuel strainers here. So they make these different ways. This one's been modified. This here's a late style one, 51 or 2 and later. These screw on the end of your carburetor right here. And that's where you hook your fuel line to them. They're supposed to have a little filter inside here. Looks like that. This one's all crushed though, but pretty simple little gas filters. But it's also where the gas line hooks up to, so you have to have one of these on a Linkert to make it work. Or you can do something like that where you rig it up. There's all kinds of different things they make over the years. This one here, the customer already has one, so we're not going to worry about it for mine. So the only thing I got to do on this is the gaskets here, which are the original Harley ones here. And they would go here, and you put a couple bolts on here so you don't lose them. But other than that, it's all done. So that's what it looks like. Like I said, this was an M51L, which is for basically your big twin ULs, flatheads and stuff. But they also work very well on 45 motors. So this is the high flow version, so it's got the big Venturi in it over here. So this is, as you can tell, it's got a, get the camera to hold, there it is. You can see it's got a pretty good size hole through it. So this will be a high performance 45 motor with this on there. If you can call it 45 high performance. So that means it'll do probably 65 or 70 now instead of only 55, 60. But anyway, there's what they look like. So we're done with this one for now.